Okay, I'm going to try to keep this short. Let's take a tour of the rivers here in Whatcom and Skagit County. Starting with Whatcom, let's look at Cedarville. Cedarville is expected to exceed flood stage. In fact, it is above the action level now. It'll hit flood stage sometime this afternoon, and then overnight it will go into the moderate flood level. That's at Cedarville. There's the webcam image at Emerson Road. You could say so far so good, but we do see water there, so it's the river is just right back here. You can see it on the big map here. The river is just back there. And they have done some repairs on the levee in this area. The water does whatever it wants regardless. And just to show you where this is, it's Emerson Road. Here, let's put north, up north again. So that's where that webcam is in relation to the border and the Sumas Prairie. There's another webcam on Main Street in Everson. Let's see if we can pull that one up. Again, this is what I was hoping not to see, which is water collecting in these fields here. This is kind of what it looked like before water started pouring across the border in 2021. One mitigating factor is it looks like the Fraser at Mission, anyway, isn't going to do anything crazy. It will exceed, I mean, that's a pretty high flow level, but here's what it looked like back in 2021. The peak flow of the Fraser was almost 9,000 cubic meters per second. And it looks like Friday and Saturday it will barely make it to 6,500 cubic meters per second. So not the slowest we've ever seen the Fraser, but certainly not as bad as it was back in 2021. So hopefully that will allow the Sumas River to drain into the Fraser. Let's look at Everson. Actually, let's go all the way to Ferndale. Ferndale has some problems. Moderate flooding expected for this round, and that will happen overnight tonight. Actually tomorrow morning and into Friday, they will be above the moderate flood stage. That's Whatcom County. All right, down to Skagit County. Let's look at concrete. This is a serious situation. Not only will they exceed the historical level, but they'll do it by quite a bit. So concrete, and it looks to be on track. It looks like this may be a fairly accurate prediction. Sometimes you see this part of the graph doesn't match up with this part, and you know it's not going to match up. This looks like it's pretty much on target to have some, not only major flooding there in concrete, but disastrous flooding. And the same for Mount Vernon. Let's check that out. There it is, well above the historic high level, and that happens, well, it'll peak on it looks like midnight of the 12th, or just before midnight of the 12th. So tomorrow night, we're going to wake up on Friday morning to a terrible situation there in Mount Vernon. So that's all of Skagit County. Oh, actually, let's take a look at the Stillaguamish. Again, near record river levels there in the Stillaguamish, well above the major flood level, almost a new record. Oh, again, let's look at the some of the Canadian rivers here. The Chilliwack at Vedder. This one's kind of got me upset because I'm seeing conflicting information here. This model is called the Clever model, and actually it's gotten worse over the last 24 hours. So now even the Clever model is showing the Chilliwack at Vedder exceeding the 100-year return as far as flow. That means we don't expect to see the river this high but every 100 years, and it exceeds it by quite a bit. That's a little bit scary for the Chilliwack there at Vedder. I wish I had something better to report. But then take a look at this Coffee model, and it shows it exceeding the 200-year level by even more. So I prefer to go with the Clever model. I'm hoping that it's not going to be as bad as these graphs show there at the Chilliwack River at Vedder Crossing. The River Forecast Center in British Columbia has upgraded the warnings and advisories here, and doggone it, I was hoping we weren't going to see any red here in the Sumas Prairie. I still don't think it's going to be a repeat of the events of 2021, but now I'm hesitant to even say that because I don't want to give anybody false hope. I'll put some links in the description so that you can get to these flood watches and advisories and warnings, and this is what we just don't want to see. All right, thanks for watching.